Guys, we're going to dive right into this video. I do want to make a quick note that this video is on current 2022 model cars with an optional manual transmission, as well as upcoming 2023 model cars. I have not had the opportunity to drive any of these cars on this video, although I have many experience with many manual transmission vehicles. We are going to be looking at professional reviews to kind of head and gauge some of these cars. So, all right, guys, let's dive into the video. So this list of vehicles is in any sort of order other than price point. We're going to start with the lowest price vehicle and work our way up to more expensive price vehicles. So without further ado, our first vehicle on the list is the controversial 2023 Acura Integra. I call it controversial because a lot of people felt as though, well, they don't look anything like an Acura Integra. However, the car does start at very low, $30,800. It has a motor borrowed from the Civic Si, making an estimated 200 horsepower. We could see 0 to 60 around the 7-second range, which isn't very impressive, to be honest. To put it in perspective, the 1999 Acura Integra GSR ran at 0 to 60 around 7.7 seconds. Well, nonetheless, the quarter mile does come in at 15.3 at 93 miles an hour. While it's not a whole lot of information on the vehicle yet, particularly the 6-speed, J.D. Power did have to say that the Integra's return, and with the manual gearbox nonetheless, it's noticeable on its own, but Acura's targeted price tag is for the car is worth a headline or two. And I'd have to agree, it is the most affordable car in this review. Our next car on the list is the Hyundai N, which can be optioned with the Veloster or Elantra vehicles. The starting price for these two vehicles is $32,000. Both come equipped with a 2-liter turbocharged 4-cylinder engine, making a pretty impressive 276 horsepower. Now, these vehicles can be opted with the dual clutch transmission, which is not your typical standard traditional transmission with a converter, or what this video is focusing on, the 6-speed manual transmission. Although it's important for me to take the time here to express that 6-speed manual transmission vehicles, or manual transmission cars in general, really don't compete with the ongoing or current automatic transmission, well, in this case, a dual clutch transmission. And the proof's in the pudding, guys. 0 to 60 for the dual clutch is 5.3 seconds versus a much slower 6.4 seconds for the 6-speed manual transmission. Quarter mile comes in an impressive 13.9 seconds for the dual clutch, and not as impressive, but not too offensive, 14.7 for the 6-speed manual. It's also important for me to note that the trap speed in the quarter mile for the 6-speed is 99 miles an hour and a 102 mile an hour for the dual clutch. And that isn't so much the fact that although the dual clutch does shift a lot faster, it's more because the gearing is a lot tighter. With an automatic transmission, just has more gears. There's not much more we could do about that. Although there's not a lot of information on the manual transmission itself, Motor Trend had this to say: timing your gear changes and nailing the heel-to-toe throttle blimps and clutch releases makes it feel like you're having more influence over the vehicle. A lap in the manual just feels more rewarding. Motor Trend then continues to say that the Hyundai shifter, for what it's worth, is catching up to the Honda competition's front-wheel drive vehicles, but it's still not quite as satisfying in feel. The third car on the list is the very exciting and anticipated 2023 Toyota Corolla Gr. The vehicle has a starting price of $32,000, has a very tiny 1.6-liter turbocharged engine, however making a very robust 300 plus horsepower.
All part and parcel the whole genie gig.
Phenomenal cosmic powers!
Estimated it's supposed to be faster than 5.5 seconds. With its all-wheel drive system, I wouldn't be surprised if you can knock off a 5-second flat 0 to 60. The estimated quarter mile time is 13 seconds flat, if not faster. Motor Trend did have this to say: the GR Corolla will only be offered with a 6-speed manual transmission and Toyota's new high-performance adjustable torque split GR 4-wheel drive system. The transmission does get an automatic rev match, which can hopefully be disabled as easy as it can be on the standard Corolla hatchback. Moving away to Toyota's excited vehicle coming out in 2023, we have another exciting and very highly anticipated vehicle coming out in 2023 for Honda, the all-new Civic Type R. With a price starting at $39,000, the 2-liter turbocharged engine has an estimated of 320 plus horsepower with a 0 to 60 around the sub 5-second range, as well as a quarter mile and estimated low 13-second range. Although there's not a lot of information on the brand new 2023 Civic Type R with respect to reviews, this is what Car and Driver had to say about the previous generation. A short throw 6-speed manual transmission is on hand and is the only transmission choice. Honda's easy clutch action and precise shifter are as perfectly synchronized as a pair of figure skaters. Another exciting car coming from our Japanese friends is the all-new 2023 Nissan Z. Not to be confused with the 370Z or what we kind of were anticipating the name being 400Z, just Nissan Z. With a starting price of $41,015, the Nissan Z comes equipped with a 400 horsepower 3-liter V6 from the Infiniti Q60 Red Sport. 0 to 60 is around 4.5 seconds for the 6-speed, as well as 13 seconds flat at 111 miles an hour for the quarter mile. Now, as you might have noticed in some of the reviews already out on the Z, it does have some suspension issues as far as feeling sporty, but this is what Motor One had to say about the transmission. The shift throws are well spaced, close for a quick workout, but distant enough to ensure you selected the right gear. And although the lever feels a bit notchy, it's nonetheless accurate and bulk free. The clutch, likewise, is a bit heavy, but takes up is consistent and accurate. Moving right along to the next exciting Japanese sports car is the 2023 Toyota Supra Turbo, now being offered with a 6-speed manual transmission. Price starting at a hefty $52,500. Comes standard with a 3-liter twin-turbo BMW engine making 382 horsepower. 0 to 60 for the automatic transmission is 3.9 seconds, and the 6-speed has been tested at 4.2 seconds. There's not a whole lot of information on the transmission, but we do know that Toyota has sourced a BMW 6-speed transmission, and that Gazoo Racing went ahead and tuned the gearbox specially for the Toyota Supra. As far as reviews are concerned, Motor One had this to say. A manual transmission isn't some magic formula that instantly makes a car more fun to drive. There are plenty of bad manuals out there and some great automatics. Drive any Hyundai N product and you'll see what I mean. And just a note, we did cover that particular car earlier in the review, guys, and we did specify and touched on the fact that the DCT is a much faster and what I believe probably a better transmission car and better option. Moving along with Motor One, they said, sure, the ZF is essentially the gold standard for over-the-counter transmission, but it feels completely unspecial here. The catch point is narrow, and the rubber band-like clutch action means this car will be a chore in traffic. And the throws are moderate in length, but pretty notchy. The 6-speed in Nissan Z still feels snappier by comparison. The good news is that the rev matching technology comes standard, and the manual does have a tighter final drive ratio than the automatic, dropping from 3.15 to 3.46. The shifter lever itself is interesting too. The perfectly circular shift knob weighs just 7.1 ounces. It's important for me to note here, guys, that although the final drive ratio drops to 3.46, I do believe the fact that you're seeing a faster time with the Supra is not just because it's an automatic transmission that shifts faster, but I do think you'll have tighter gear ratios in between the gears since there's 8 gears versus a manual transmission just having 6 gears. But finishing up what Motor One had to say, they said, but more than anything, there's an undeniable satisfaction to rowing your own gears in the Supra at high speeds. The sublime turbocharged 3-liter inline 6, the only way to get the 6-speed manual still produces 382 horsepower and 368 foot-pounds of torque, although it takes the manual 4.2 seconds to hit 60 as opposed to the automatic's 3.9 run, your butt down won't be able to tell the difference. This car is stupidly quick. Moving along to one of our few domestic cars offered with a 6-speed manual transmission, we have the, well, I wouldn't say all new, but the 2022/2023 Mustang GT or Mach 1. Now, please note, during the making of this video, the 2024 Mustang, or the S650, was not released yet, although now it's currently released. So this video is going to focus on the current model, not the upcoming model, which is also, I'm excited to say, is going to be offered with a 6-speed manual transmission. But for the sake of this video, a lot of the parts are being carried over to the new chassis, although the Coyote engine is actually going to be a Gen 4, where this vehicle, the S550, is a Gen 3. Price for the Mach 1 starts at $56,000. Horsepower is around 480 horsepower, as I already previously mentioned, the 5-liter V8 Coyote engine. 0 to 60 can be had somewhere around 4.5 seconds, quarter mile around 12.4. The great news, I have to say, about the manual transmission for the Mach 1, unlike the GT in this current year and the GT, the next S650, is it does offer the TR6060 or T56 6-speed manual transmission to replace the crappy Chinese MT82. This is what Motor Trend had to say about the Mach 1 Mustang. The manual itself was the subject of quite a bit of chatter among the judges. Some of the experienced issued with up and down shifting, while others found the 6-speed was one of the better operators at the event. Head editorial Ed thought it was middle of the pack overall, but found it quote-unquote easy to slam through the gears. It feels indestructible, like a sledgehammer. I can contest with my Mustang that I own, where I did swap in a TR6060 transmission to deal with the power I was making out of the turbocharged 3-valve, that a 6-speed manual transmission from Tremec is very notchy and very, very much can handle quite a bit of power. Moving along to our final car in this video, and the only German car I believe I listed, is the Porsche 911, or more particularly the Porsche 911 GT3. With a starting price of $164,150, although good luck finding one at that price, the inline 6-cylinder makes roughly 502 horsepower, hits 60 miles an hour in roughly 3.7 seconds, does a quarter mile in about 12.4 seconds. And to no surprise, the 6-speed manual is the standard transmission of GT3, but with the optional 7-speed PDK transmission, which is a faster transmission in the car, noted by Car and Driver. Autoblog had this to say: each gear shift clicks into place swiftly and simply. The rise and the fall of the revs from the 502 horsepower flat 6 is enticing and beckons for more at low speeds. Although I've never had the honors to drive really any Porsche, there is a reason why I believe Porsche is a top dog here in this comparison, as far as manual transmission is concerned. And they, in many ways, did save the manual. If you recall, when the 911R came out, sort of as almost, I would say, a project car, because there's so much demand from the enthusiasts on their end to produce a 6-speed manual transmission, especially when Porsche is also really the king of dual clutch cars with the PDK. And now we have the GT3 and other 911 models being offered standard with a 6-speed manual. I think this goes to show that really the manual transmission car hopefully isn't going anywhere, or at least not anywhere anytime soon. I hope you guys enjoyed my video. And if you did enjoy the video, go ahead and smash that like button. And if you want to see more videos like this, go ahead and hit the subscribe button. I greatly appreciate it. Also, make sure to comment below which car is your favorite car here, or if you had any opportunity to drive any of these cars. And by all means, if there's a car that I'm missing, comment below. It's important for people to look into any other options out there in the market I just might have forgot, or just didn't get the opportunity to go ahead and do some research on. Once again, guys, have a great night or day, depending on when you're watching the video. Take it easy. I'm out.